Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. And I'm your host, Randy Sharman. According to a new survey from Globus Travel, guided tours are becoming more and more popular. So in a few seconds, travel expert Onanta Forbes will join me to discuss the advantages of taking a guided tour versus doing it yourself. And then, speaking of guided tours, we'll get some insight and tips on visiting Machu Picchu, Peru, which I think is high on almost everyone's bucket list. And it's one of those places where you just might need some advice on traveling there. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Hello, Onanta.
Hello, Randy. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. We're going to talk about this. We're talking about guided tours. And the reason why is because Globus had a survey out saying that more people are enjoying guided tours, particularly Gen Xers and the younger groups, which kind of they're the ones that kind of want to do the do-it-yourselfers, don't you find?
Yes, absolutely. But I think what they're finding is that they're finding it appealing. They're finding it that it cites a desire for cultural connections, access to historic, iconic landmarks, and key motivations. Like, it's sometimes nice to go on a guided tour and skip the line. Like, you can just go past all those other individuals that are just waiting to get in. This year, a lot of people visited Rome, the Vatican, and that was definitely a highlight in some of my feedback from guests that have gone. They like the advantage of the convenience that it offers. And the survey highlights that travelers are drawn to tours because all the logistics are handled. It's well designed, it's a balanced itinerary, and it takes the guesswork out of travel. And sometimes when you're an independent traveler, which is as good as how you want to make it, it's sometimes nice to be told what you're looking at and why you're looking at it, right? And it kind of takes away the burden of planning or booking because somebody else is doing it. And it gives you a guided tour, gives you the best of both worlds, structure and flexibility. And the survey found that 60% of respondents value a good balance of free time and included activities on guided tours. And this allows people to experience curated highlights while enjoying the autonomy to explore on their own terms. And it's not always an easy balance when you're piecing together your itinerary independently. And I could attest to this because I remember one time going to India and having the opportunity with the tour company I went with, having access to different sites like the Taj Mahal before the crowds came in. And it was a wonderful opportunity because crowds are sometimes are a little bit distracting. They take away from the enjoyment and just the moment of being there. So I think it's a good way to look at it. You want to experience unique experiences that kind of go beyond the ordinary. And guided tours often unlock access to places otherwise off limits. And discovering hidden gems or having surprises are fun because they have, I'm going to say, the buying power to get behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
Are difficult to arrange without insider knowledge. So it also says that the survey says that 55% of the respondents consider small group tours the most attractive touring style. So smaller groups can also foster a sense of camaraderie as well as facilitate richer cultural exchanges and just overall experience for family and friends traveling together. So that brings up a good point that it doesn't have to be just a group of random people. A lot of travel is multi-generational or just small groups with your friends and family. So that's kind of fun as well.
Well, and there are a lot of guided tours, a lot of different types of guided tours. We've talked about walking tours, which I really, really enjoy. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, If It's Tuesday, This Must Be Belgium. It's an old it's an old movie, but it's quite funny, and it's all about being on this big bus tour. And I think tour companies have really stepped up their game, because it used to be sort of the stereotype that you're herded like cattle around to all these sites, and it's not like that anymore. There is a lot of free time, and you do get to enjoy things on your own, as well as take advantage of having a guide with you.
Well, that's it. That's it exactly. And, choosing between a guided tour and a self-planned itinerary depends on your group's preference and priorities and travel style. So, guided tours, as the survey, shares, it shouldn't be viewed as a niche choice. They can present, their expertise, their convenience, their unique access, as we talked about. And as you say, the flexibility and the personalization. So, I think a lot of travelers do opt for that hybrid approach. They combine guided tours in complex destinations and then independent exploration elsewhere. So it's just what works for you. And also, it could be as simple as a hop on, hop off tour just to get your orientation of the place where you're at. And then you can
Mm-hmm.
go and do your own thing. I have guests that really enjoy taking advantage of sometimes local destinations have guides that do it for free, and then you just pay them a tip based
Mm-hmm.
on how you feel that the tour went and how much you learned and whatever. But I think the most important thing is that you're out there, you're exploring, and you're creating memories. If you're a solo traveler with your partner or with a group, it's all about exploring the destination and learning about the destination.
Mm-hmm. And you read about the hop on, hop off. I like those too. Those and
Hmm.
walking tours I really enjoy. And yeah, especially if in a destination where you've never been before, maybe there might be even a language barrier or something like that. It really helps to be part of a guided tour rather than doing it on your own.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's there's the best of both worlds. So it's basically the choice is yours. And also, planning your own itinerary, whether it's for your family or your group or a group of friends, it's still highly appealing. It lets you
Mm-hmm.
choose your pace. You can select your destinations and tailor experiences to everybody's interests. It can also be more budget friendly and also allows greater spontaneity. But um, particularly those who relish having that control. And there's some of us out there.
Yes, yes, there is. I've met a few.
I can attest to that. Particularly my partner, probably. It's also good. Like I learned this from a neighbor I had a long time ago. She goes, "Well, always choose a different way home. Like like venture off the beaten path. Like just
Mhm.
if you see a road that kind of looks interested, why not go down it?"
Exactly.
Yes,
Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. You can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. You can even book a guided tour with Onanta if you wish.
absolutely.
Good stuff, Onanta. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me, too, with any questions you might have or any show segment ideas. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And check out our social media pages, too, at facebook.com/informedtraveler, Instagram at Informed Traveler, or on X at Informed Traveler. That's where you'll find a number of videos and photos of our visits throughout the year and posts from other adventures. Plus, you can now sign up for our monthly newsletter. It's released at the beginning of every month. Our November issue is now available. Just go to our website, theinformedtraveler.org, click on the newsletter button, and it'll take you right there. Or better yet, you can subscribe to it and have it arrive in your inbox each month. Well, I think one of the places that ranks high on almost everyone's travel bucket list is Machu Picchu in Peru. It's also one of those places where it's probably a good idea to get some insider knowledge to help you plan your trip there. So joining us now to offer some insight and tips on visiting Machu Picchu are Jackie Witt and Vidal Hockaway. They are the co-founders of Adios Adventure Travel, a company that specializes in tours to Machu Picchu and other areas of South America. Their website is adiosadventuretravel.com. Hello to the both of you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Hey guys, good morning over there.
And Vidal says over there because you are in Cusco, are you not?
Yeah, we are in Cusco, Peru.
Excellent.
Greetings from the Andes.
Thank you very much. Adios Adventure Travel. I am looking at your website. You have all kinds of destinations that you specialize in, but today we're going to talk about Machu Picchu. There's all kinds of things going on at Machu Picchu, and I think it is on just about everyone's bucket list, which we will talk about in just a moment. But tell me a little bit about Adios Adventure Travel, how it got started, and how you two got involved.
All right. Well, I'll start because I was a teacher at a small school, and I took a group of students down to Cusco to do service projects. And Vidal was our tour guide. And I had a bunch of boys, teenage boys, and you can only imagine how rowdy they were.
Mm-hmm.
And Vidal has this air about him where when he speaks with his soft voice, the boys just straightened right up and wanted to hear what he had to say. So I kept taking more groups down and more groups, and then, finally we were discussing, well, should we, do this as a business? Could we, throw out a shingle and see if people will want to join us and come down here? And in 2009, I set up a licensed company in the U.S. and Virginia, and that's where I've been ever since. So Vidal may have his take on it. What is your side of the story, Vidal?
Well, I've been guiding in Peru for almost 30 years, and I learned to speak English hiking along the Inca Trail. Over the years, I set up in a small company, and then it's when I met Jackie, as she mentioned, with a group of kids that came from the US. Like anybody that comes from a foreign area into an area that is different, I guess I get to see her panicking a little bit with those kids. So I just talked to her and said, "Listen, Jackie, let me take over." And that was the beginning of. But slowly, Jackie got involved, and I asked her. Well, both of us, we agree that at the beginning it was just like a help, but eventually later we say, like, listen, we have to organize this better, because it's not only us now, it's getting involved other people that is coming. And it worked great, because Jackie's over there. She can tell our guests on, how it's like to be in Peru, how is the modus vivendus, and what kind of things are different. This is like another, let's put it this way, it sounds like another world, but there are things that work slightly different that for us is normal, is okay, we are used to this. But you guys are in a different society where things can work slightly different, So Jackie is there in order to help our visitors to understand a few facts, and then they will talk to her, they will get in touch with her, and in that way, when they come, they are ready to kind of like understand those different things. And I guess that's all about traveling. You're going to a different place in order to try to understand what is happening there, which is different on what happens normally at home. that's how all this started. And I feel very fortunate that I met Jackie along the way, and especially that we become to be partners in Adios Adventure Travel.
Well, I am looking on your website, adiosadventuretravel.com. South America Adventure Travel and Trekking Specialist is what it says. And today we're going to focus on Machu Picchu. I have never been. Jackie, I understand you've been there many, many times. You go there every year. So I feel like I'm going to get a very good lesson on all about Machu Picchu. So what is it about Machu Picchu that it's almost on everyone's bucket list to go and see at least once in their lifetime? So what is the magic of it that draws everybody?
From my perspective, as a foreigner, the fact that there are this massive area in the Andes Mountains that is still intact in its original form. There've been a few renovations, but when you go into the national park, there's no modern convenience. There's no electrical, plumbing. There's no lighting. Recently, they started adding some wooden stairs with handles to keep people, from trotting all over the stones so much and to reduce the wear and tear. But when you first see them, it really is breathtakingly awe-inspiring. Every time people say, well, do you ever get tired of it? No, no, no. Every time I go, it takes my breath away to see that magnificent space in the middle of nowhere. And we're allowed to be there and enjoy it. And that's, what I like the most about it. But what would you say?
Well, to me, humans, we are amazing. We can develop so much. And in one stage here in the middle of the Andes, a society called Incas, it developed in Cusco, but then slowly they start growing. And right in the cloud forest, they will choose a place in between the mountains. And they just say, like, here's where we want to build a city. And they develop this amazing city that is just sitting there. And the beauty is that it's the same way how it was when they built it, Luckily, the Spanish never really made it there. Into those places, into the Americas, is arriving Spanish, Portuguese, and the result of the arrival of these new societies is a mixture. And then now that everywhere we find that influence. But in this area, you don't find that, To start with, is a place that is not really that easy to get there because like there's no car access to get there. So either you go hiking or either you go by train. So it is amazing to see an ancient city that was developed in the 1400s and is sitting there just like the way how it was before.
Well, you mentioned the access. Let's talk about that because you do run a couple of different tours, one by train and one by hiking. So talk about just the logistics of getting to Machu Picchu and the different ways you can do it.
This is my favorite discussion. People think, well, can we drive? There's got to be a road somewhere. No, there's no road. You cannot drive there. You have to take the train, or there is a back door. I mean, obviously there's the Inca Trail. So the Inca Trail, you go on foot. And there's a 4-day Inca Trail hike, which is very strenuous. It's very popular. But maybe not surprising, but there's still the same number of permits available now as there always have been. So the permits, keep the crowds down. And then if you want to come around what I call the backdoor route, that's kind of like my little favorite route. You drive over a mountain pass down into the high jungle back there behind Machu Picchu. And then you can see some small communities back there at about 7,500 foot elevation, and and it's warm back there, so it's a different climate. And then you can walk like a 3-hour hike from what's called the hydroelectric station into the back of the village near Machu Picchu, and that village is Aguas Calientes. So no matter how you go, most people come by train. Fewer people do hike the 4-day Inca Trail. And then for people who are active travelers who like to walk or enjoy exploring on foot, there's a 1-day version of the Inca Trail. And that's one of my favorites because it's like a little mini adventure and you don't have to, kill yourself hiking the 4-day Inca Trail. So, and then I'll let Vidal give his version of that access.
Well, going by Santa Teresa is the access that you are talking about now, Jackie. And
Yeah.
yes, it's one of the back doors, as you mentioned. Happened that to get into Machu Picchu, once again, is either by train or hiking. But besides that, this area gets you into literally you have to go into the jungle, circle this mountain, these Andes, and go up to the cloud forest again. So it allows you to see different climates. The Andes mountains is one of the largest in the world, and that is actually giving us different climates, microclimates around. And when you are doing this visit, you get to go into high passes that they are over 14,000 feet. So you drive all the way up where it's just snow. And from there, you drive all the way down into the jungle itself. From there, you kind of go around. It's a kind of like a long drive because what you do on a train in a couple of hours, you have to do it driving over 7 to 8 hours, because you are circling the Andes. You gotta cross the river in a little bridge, but then to do that, you have to drive all the way down and then all the way up. So that's something that people will not really understand because they say, well, if there's a train tracks to go there and takes only 2 hours, why can I not drive? Well, the reason is because the Andes. And to cross the Andes, either you climb up to the mountain or you drill a tunnel through the Andes, but we don't have such a thing,
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's how it is.
So how tough is the hike? You mentioned there's the 1-day excursion walking or hiking, and then the 4 days. But how tough is the 4 days, though? Like, do I have to be pretty, a pretty savvy outdoor person?
Nowadays we have the staff that help us, and the staff is the porters. Nowadays we have cooks, and those guys are the engine of the trails, of the hikes. They carry for us the tents, they place chairs, they provide us the food. So all what we gotta do is just be able to go like an average of 12 to 13K in a day. I'm talking about like 9 miles. And we go with our day packs, and our day packs, what we carry is just like little rain gear, little hats for the sun, little water, snacks, enough to go through the day, because the rest of the gear, including sleeping bags, mattresses, tents, food, everything is carried by the porters. So those guys are actually the ones that make it possible. And in the meantime, you just enjoy the Andes. But obviously, it's not really like you are just walking around. You gotta go either up or down. There's no flats in Peru, no flat surface. Either you're going up or down. But it's just amazing going through all those little villages that they are still. And the first day you get to see, for example, in the 4-day hike, some villages from the people that still lives there. But on the second and third day, there is no remains of people. I mean, there's no new people there. It's all what you find is this old Incan trail, a few ancient towns that they've been abandoned over there. And obviously what you're enjoying the most is how rugged the Andes mountains it can be, how beautiful it can be. It's for people that loves nature and outdoors. It's really nice.
Well, my wife and I were talking about the differences, and she says, "Yeah, I'd like to try the 4-day hike." And I'm thinking, well, maybe I'd rather take the train. so, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
tell,
so
tell me.
let me interject for you and tell you we do a lot of that where we have families or small groups and some want to do the strenuous hike, some want to take the train, but then there's a middle ground too. There's the easy 1-day Inca Trail hike.
Yeah, see,
And
I
I
could do
do
that, I
that.
think.
Yeah, I that's about 8 miles. You have to do it all in one day, and you have to carry, your backpack with everything you need. But it's doable. So I'm in my 60s and I've been doing it every year. But I'm in shape. You
Yeah.
still have to be in shape, and you have to be in very good shape, I would say, to do the 4-day Inca Trail. That's not for people who are thinking, "Oh, I like hiking,"
Yeah.
and you're just
That's
gonna.
what I figured too. I think people underestimate, you know, how like the elevation for one thing, and all the other things that you have to take into account.
Yeah, you're gonna get up to 14,000 feet at Dead Woman's Pass, they call it, and interestingly, a lot of people understand now how having a long descent in those mountains can really be hard on your legs and your knees. Your knee joints, can be
Hmm.
affected by that constant down, 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 dropping down. So I hiked it in my 50s. Um, and then I've hiked a few other multi-day treks up there. I've hiked the Loris Valley trek, and that was we had mules. And then there's a few other places. There's tons of hiking. I mean, Peru is a nature lover's paradise. And regardless of people's level of fitness, as long as they can describe, what kind of fitness they have, I can find and Vidal, and I work together to help people find the right hike for them. But there's
Hmm.
only one hike that leads to Machu Picchu, literally on foot, and that is the Inca Trail, the classic Inca Trail 4-day, or the short Inca Trail 1-day.
Let's talk about the train now. What's that like? I mean, it's easy. That'd be my way of going.
Yeah, it is. It's about 2 hours from the village of Ollantaytambo, and and in recent years they've started operating trains from the city of Cusco. But a lot of people think you're literally going to get on the train in Cusco, whereas no, you don't. There are a few trains that actually depart from Cusco, but most of the services are bimodal now. So they have buses, mini buses, like 18 passenger buses that leave Cusco and transport you through the Sacred Valley in about 2 hours to the village of Ollantaytambo. And from there, then you board the train for another 2-hour ride into the village of Aguas Calientes, and that's the gateway to Machu Picchu. So the train is very comfortable. It has there's a restroom, on board, and the views are beautiful. And, and they just operate all day. They have departures early morning and right into the late evening. And now they have different classes of trains. They have, there's the Hiram Bingham luxury train, which only goes once per day in the morning and then returns once that day in the evening. And that's the one where you have, I think, a 4-course dinner, and you have different cars where you can get up and walk around and enjoy the scenery and the experience on the train with the service. But most people use for 2 hours they just sit in the trains with all the trains have panoramic windows,
Hmm.
so you can enjoy the scenery because it's beautiful riding along the Urubamba River.
Oh, I bet.
So, I gotta say, trains you find for all the budgets, and the one that you mentioned, Jackie, was like the Hiram Bingham. So that's like the top train that they have run by Peru Rail. But they are the average train, the one that we call the tourist train. It will run either they call it Expedition or Vistadom or Voyager, which is the service that Inca Rail has. So Peru Rail and Inca Rail are the companies that they run those trains, but those are trains that they run in a narrow gauge track. So in one stage, yes, you are going in this valley, but eventually later gets down into the sort of little canyon, and all what you see from the mountains is the river, train besides, and that little canyon. And they don't really run so fast because the fact that it's going just besides the river and besides it's just the mountain, they cover like 60K in a couple of hours, so they go slow and they kind of go showing the beauty of the Andes. And along the way, obviously, you get to see some sites. There are some Inca sites that they've been abandoned, but you still see all those terraces, structures. So it is a beautiful ride.
So now, once you're there, what do people need to know? Like when you're actually at the site of Machu Picchu, how long can you stay? What are some of the questions that come up?
Well, let me address the restroom first.
That's your favorite part, isn't it?
I think.
Yeah, because this is very important. So at the entrance gate, so from let's go back to the village. So everybody arrives in the village except the hikers. The hikers come in from the sun gate above Machu Picchu on foot, whether it's the 4-day hikers or the 1-day hikers. They all come in from above, and that's my preference, is to do that. But the majority of people come in by train, and they take the shuttle bus for a 30-minute ride up to the main gate. Now, the main gate is an area where there's a little cafe. There's the main entrance to circuits 1 and 2, and then there's a lower entrance and the exit gate which goes into circuit 3. So right in that area is the restroom, and that's the only restroom in the park anywhere. So the first thing I do when I get off that shuttle bus is I go get in line for the restroom immediately, because that's what everybody is eventually going to figure out when they get off the bus. But I'm already going to be in line. So you want to hit the restroom before you go into the park, because if you're inside the park and you need to go, well, you have to exit. And if you exit, you're done. You can't go back in with the same ticket. So that's the thing people need to understand.
Well, that's probably the best tip right there.
Yeah.
That's true. Because if happened that along the way you need to go, then you just have to exit the park, but then they don't really allow you to go back. So the tickets are just one way, and the entire area is set up in the way that it's just like one-way path. And then once you get out, you're out.
So how long is the stay? Like, is it
normally
full?
Can I, Vidal, I just thought of something I want to make clear, because I talk to a lot of people buying tickets, and sometimes people buy their own tickets. Sometimes they ask us to buy the tickets. And one thing people now have to understand is there are entrance tickets into Machu Picchu that do not include access to the actual ancient Inca city, and that is on Route 1. So none of the Route 1, Circuit 1, A, B, C, D, none of those tickets provides access to the ancient city. Those tickets are only for viewing from above, what they call the classic view, the panoramic view. And then 3 of those tickets have a hike. 3 of those hikes are closed during the low season and only open during high season. So it's a little complicated to, be aware of all these factors when choosing tickets. And that's where I help a lot of people that call me to help them pick the right tickets. They don't want to miss the ancient Inca city.
And that's true. Let me just add it on. I met a lot of people that they came and they were like happy because they got a ticket. They said like, oh, you know what? I need a guide service and I got my tickets. And when we say like, okay, can I see your ticket? And then you realize that they got the circuit one, and that's like just the overview of the city. And they feel like, a lot of people will say that's a ripoff because you don't really enter into the city, you just see it from above. And some people get so disappointed because they are like, I took a plane from my country here into Cusco, the train and everything, and you're telling me that I cannot get in. So they don't realize that.
So make sure you got the ticket that you want.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I guess make sure that you understand what kind of ticket you're getting. If
How
it's,
big of an area are we talking about when you start exploring the site?
this is a place where easily the way how now is regulated, they have circuits 1, 2, and 3, but easily in 2 days you are still exploring the area because it's the circuits, they will lead you into, for example, into the whole city. You go and walk into houses, areas, temples, but to see from another angle, you can climb, I don't know, the Picchu mountain, which is across, or the other mountain of Machu Picchu. And to do those hikes, you will need at least 2-3 hours. So then while you are getting there, while you're exploring a little the city, while you do the climb there, you have already one day. But most of the people will have like a day. And out of this day, over 90% of the guests, I guess, they spend literally only like 2 hours. But obviously, what happens over there, as soon as you enter, they will not really ask you at what time is your ticket. So you enter, and then you can start exploring around. You can just like get into areas where there's no rangers, and then you can still slow down your rhythm. And then you can spend over 3-4 hours easily. Normally, when we are having our tours, we go from Cusco, so we are not really like running, trying to finish this. So we, excuse me, we try to see as much as we can, explore the entire area, and we easily spend up to 3 hours or 4 hours, depending, how is the interest of our guests in order to see the place. Yeah.
So
So
when it
I would
involves,
say, so Randy, I would say the literal size of the park is, I've seen it estimated at 34 acres of the actual city, which, is winding up and down little steps and paths. And there's a trend now, a travel trend, I will call it, in the last couple of years, that since they changed these circuits now, people are trying to do these 1-day trips from Cusco. The travel time from Cusco to Machu Picchu is 5 hours each way. That's if everything goes according to plan. If you
yeah.
get any delays on the train or slow down and through driving through the Sacred Valley, it could take a little longer. So all these people now are spending 5 hours to get there. They hustle up, then they go in, and they go in for 2, maybe 3 hours at most, and they have to leave right away, get back to the train, and then take the train back to Cusco. So these people are doing 1-day trips, which I think is not nearly as much time as you need. I would advise doing at least 2 days, 1 night. So that's our favorite minimum standard, is to take people in the day before by train, or if they're hiking, and spend the night in a hotel in the village, and then take the bus in the morning, and after breakfast, go up there and explore. and then have, most of the morning up there because it's misty in the early morning. So it often burns off, and that brings up the seasonal um, weather, climate. It's
Mm-hmm.
cloudy in the winter, what we call the winter in the northern hemisphere. Um, and then you want to, get some shots of Machu Picchu with sunshine, ideally. And then you go down to the village by train around midday, and then you take your train back to Cusco, and you get back there by 6 or 7 p.m. That's a 2-day, 1-night trip.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
You
the
know,
preferable, in my opinion.
Randy, you're asking how big is this? Machu Picchu is a huge area that is protected by the government. So this is a UNESCO um, heritage area that is
Mm-hmm.
protected by, not just by the Peruvian law. It goes up to 80,500 acres. I'm talking about like um, 325,000 kilometers. But then the area that you get to see in the in Machu Picchu, it goes around 10 hectares. We're talking about 25 acres more or less, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't get to see everything. They are
Yeah.
only on a small spot. It's like the tip of the iceberg what you get to see, because you keep going this way, there's another trail, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
them are closed because we had cases when people got lost, really. So they went into this little path, and then they couldn't really get back. And now, because that, they kind of closed most of those little access into all those different areas, including the hikes. They get to be open only during the high season, because a lot of times the government will not really put rangers in every little pathway that is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is they want to just keep them safe, and that's why they open only certain areas.
Is there a better time of year to go?
If I can take this, is I really like right after the rain season, after February.
Mm-hmm.
March, April for me are the best. Why? Because there is so many orchids to see. There are lots of different birds to look around, that they are around the area. I like it better that time of the year. But obviously, when someone is traveling, a lot of times they are afraid of little rains, and they will choose to go like June, July, August. But the park is open year around. The only
Mm.
time that they don't allow hikers, Machu Picchu is open year around, but the hike, it gets to be closed during February, because they want to
Okay.
do maintenance, and there is a lot of rain in the area.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Both of you have been doing this for a very long time. What are the changes you've seen over the years?
Changes.
Well, yeah, I'll say that the most profound change is, of course, in the beginning, you could walk all over the park. You could come in and out, use the restroom, go back in. You could spend an entire day there if you wanted to. And you could get up close to some of the features, which, now they're kind of roped off and protected. So that's one of the biggest changes I've seen. And then I want to make it help people understand that there's this concern about over tourism.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that one of my little side hobbies, is I've been tracking the number of tickets that have been available every year. They release tickets in January. So just so people know, so you cannot buy a ticket right now for 20 entry in 2026. Those tickets go on sale in January. But um, I was going to, why don't you enhance what I was just saying there?
To start with, like the town of Aguascalientes, it is a new town. It's a town that it's been born with the tourism industry. So the very first time that I went there, I saw just like little stands where they used to sell water and stuff that tourists they used to get. Little by little, they become to be little restaurants. And slowly, as the years they were going, they built a little town where normally you see like restaurants on the first floor, rooms where they host tourists on the second floor, and then the third floor is where people stays. And that's how it is mostly all the town. There are few like proper hotels, like a hotel with 3 stars or 4 stars. You can count them. So um, it changed a lot on regards the town. But if you see like the citadel, at the beginning they used to say like, listen, if you get into Machu Picchu, you get a full day ticket. But if you show this full day ticket, the next day you have like a half price discount for your next ticket. So people were on their way to encourage people to stay a little longer to these few tourists that they were around there. And over the years, obviously, as the time was going, they will say like, well, no, it's just valid for a day. And then it is valid only for the morning or afternoon. So we had a couple of years when we had tickets valid only morning or afternoons. And slowly now the tickets are valid only at certain hours. So if you get a ticket for, let's say, 6 in the morning and you show up there after 7, they'll kind of like make you way around. They say like, well, your turn is over. And you're like, wait, I couldn't come here. The shadow, you put any excuse, and then they make you sign this, sign that. They really bother you. So now the tickets are per hour. There are budgets of tickets that they sell. And that's one of the big differences. Before, you were allowed to go anywhere, literally go up and down, exit the park. But nowadays, they are like one-way paths. So literally, they have like the people like sheep, and they herd the people, push them out, because there's a new group coming. So that's, I guess, the main difference, that before we were allowed to go anywhere, but nowadays there are only certain areas where you can go, and they try to make that you get in and you get out at certain after a couple of hours.
So one thing I was going to tell you, Randy, is that now the number of tickets available per day is the same as it's been for the last 10 years. So I know how to count the tickets, and I do it every year in January. That's like my little project. So I've been sounding this horn that people are saying, oh, it's overcrowded, it's overcrowded. And I don't want to tell people that there's not times when it's, congested in the village usually, or in other places, getting in and out. But generally speaking, once you get inside the park, because of the one-way paths, you don't have two-way traffic now on these steep paths, and it used to be awful with the bottlenecks there. You don't have that anymore. And the tourism management is a big, that's a big job. And the people that manage the park sometimes can get overwhelmed when you have excess crowds. Like in August, it gets very, very crowded because the Peruvians have one of their annual holidays. Schools are out, and they also show up there with all the North Americans and Europeans who are on holiday in August. So for people that have the choice to avoid August, that's an ideal, or plan early if you're going to travel in August. But over tourism is not the issue in Machu Picchu. If there is an issue, it's management, crowd management. And that's something they're continually working on, like with the buses and with and these entry tickets, hourly entry tickets, are one way they spread people out.
Yeah.
So now people aren't all trying to go in at 6 a.m. There used to be hundreds of people trying to get in at 6.
Yeah.
So now it's this, this many at 6, this many at 7, this many at 8. So it spreads them out through the entire day.
Well, I think too, there's this fine line between preserving the past and then also showcasing it so people can learn from it, right? There seems to me this back and forth constantly.
Yeah, I guess regulations it made it that um, we had to find a way to handle tourism, and nowadays they are a little more aware of trying to preserve, because this is our heritage. We want to make sure that our kids also they can enjoy this area,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, not only Peruvian organizations, international organizations also they'll go and make sure that they are controlling this, because they have also you can buy tickets also in town for, but then you cannot just buy today for this afternoon. You have to get there the previous day in order to buy a ticket for the next day. So that's also another budget of tickets that they have over there if you're a last minute traveler. But the only problem there is that you don't know how many people they'll be thinking that I'm going to go to get a last minute ticket,
Yeah.
because it happened that we cannot, as a traveler, sometimes we have schedules. We have a plane departing, a train departing, but if you are hoping to get a last minute ticket, your plane is like a roulette Russian, Russian roulette, I guess you call it.
Exactly. Well, it's a long way to go to gamble on getting a last minute ticket. That is for sure.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't know if I would want to go that route.
Yeah, but sometimes you find some guys or families that they are trying to do that, but I won't really suggest it. I would rather say, listen, try to find some local experts and say, listen, I would like to go there. Let me know when they are, because there are companies also that they will say, listen, we'll get into the town of Aguascalientes and you'll get a ticket for the next day. But then, can you guarantee that will really happen?
Yeah.
There are occasions when I saw that people they've been waiting there for 2 nights, 2 days,
Oh my.
and then the third day is when they managed to get a ticket. But it's not only the issue of the ticket. Then after you get into Machu Picchu, the next concern is to get out of the town, because the trains gets to be sold out, and then it's when you are spend like over 4 or 5 days just trying to see, and nah, it's not really like
Yeah, that
something that I
doesn't
wish.
happen. That doesn't happen often. That did happen in August. So
Yeah. But I mean,
Well,
it
that's
can
why you
occur,
have people like yourselves to do this,
Yeah, that's
because
true. Then it's
it's
better.
one of those trips. You don't want to assume that you can handle everything. I think I would want people in my corner to answer all the questions and who have been there, like you two. So I appreciate you doing this, and so if people are thinking of going to Machu Picchu and the whole area of Peru and exploring that, I think that to have a knowledgeable tour guide would be very, very helpful.
yeah,
I agree with you, Randy.
Yeah, he's got a team of tour guides.
Jackie Witt and Vidal Hockaway are founders of Adios Adventure Travel. You can go on their website, adiosadventuretravel.com. All kinds of different tours and different ways to get to Machu Picchu. Well, actually, only two, either by hiking or by train.
Now, Randy, you realize
that's one thing I've learned. There's only two ways to get there, and I still think maybe I could do the 1 day hike, but the 4 day, I'm not sure I could handle that. But the train would be really nice.
So that's the other thing to be aware of on that short 1 day hike. It's only 1 day.
Yeah.
And it only goes one way. And you hike in, you see Machu Picchu, and then you take the train back.
That's my way of doing it. I think I would handle that way. So I do appreciate you doing this. Again, you can check out their website, adiosadventuretravel.com. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Vidal.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Randy.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.